a great deal of humidity in the air as the Rockies get ready to open up a 3-game set against the Fightin' Phils. The Rockies, for the first time since fairly early on in the season, are below 500. They look to rectify that tonight. The Phillies again come in 3 games north of 500 in that competitive National League East. DJ LeMahieu is going to lead it off for the Rockies. He'll be followed by Charlie Blackmon. Here's the rest of the Southwest batting order tonight, as written out this afternoon by Buddy Black. Nolan will bat third. Carr goes back in there. That's a great thing because he's swinging the bat well, and historically against the Phils, he has been terrific, and in this park in particular, 341 average. Then it's Story, Gerardo Parra, Ian Desmond, Tom Murphy. That's right. You're saying, wait a second, Tom Murphy? Tom Murphy was called back to the big leagues today. He'll make his first 2018 appearance. Mike Tauchman was sent down, and for more on that story, we go downstairs to Ryan Spilborg. Spilly.
Yeah, that's right, Drew. Michael Tauchman was sent down earlier today to bring back Tom Murphy, a catcher we've heard a lot about, and we've seen parts of his game, but he's not been able to put it all together. This year, however, he was told exactly what to do from Bud Black and from the coaching staff. They said they wanted him to go down to AAA, work on his swings, working on his catching as well. He went down there with a new attitude. He said for him it was important to have fun again and to take every single day as an opportunity to get better. In less than 200 at-bats in AAA, hit about 17 home runs. The Rockies calling him up today because they felt like they could get some added pop at the bottom of the lineup. It will be interesting, however, to see 3 catchers on the roster today, Drew.
Yeah, a little different for the Rockies. Buddy was saying a few years ago when he was managing San Diego, they had 3 on the roster. They had Nick Hundley, they had Yasmani Grandal, and Rene Rivera to start the season. There are some teams that'll run 3 out there. Of course, when you have a guy like Tony Walters, who's very versatile, can play any infield spot, it's maybe easier to do that.
Oh, for sure, because now you don't have to worry about if you pinch hit for your catcher, you put the other guy in there, you still have somebody that can be a super utility guy. The other thing it affords Bud is the opportunity, if Chris isn't starting to use his bat coming off the bench, maybe a veteran right-handed bat, something that they've been lacking at times, to have a veteran presence. So I think all of that combined, plus Tom's putting up the numbers in AAA. He's earned this right to get back called back up again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of putting it. He has earned the right to be back up here. He's among the league leaders in home runs in the PCL with 16. Well, this guy's a tough customer. If you're looking at the top pitchers in the National League, you're going to rattle off Max Scherzer, you're going to rattle off Clayton Kershaw, certainly when healthy. That makes a lot of sense. Don't forget this guy now, because if you look at what he's done over his last 32 starts, he's put up elite numbers.
And this year, he's done the same thing. He's taken it to another level. The fastball, curveball, changeup, nobody's hitting above 205 in any of those pitches. Changeup, 205, fastball, 204, curveball, 186. The Rockies saw Aaron Nola, but this was back at Coors Field, but he carved him up pretty good. 7 innings, just 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts on 103 pitches, got no decision. And that's when you really saw Nola and what he could do. I think this year, though, talking to some scouts and some other people with the Phillies, the difference for Aaron has not only been that fastball, curveball that he always possesses, but it's been the changeup that's helped him a lot. And he can pitch to all 4 quadrants, up, down, in, and out. And when he can do all that together, that's why you have a record of 7-2 and an ERA at 2.35.
Well, his last 3 starts covering 20 2/3 innings. Excuse me, 19 2/3 innings. He's allowed only 7 hits. So the Rockies will try to change that tonight. DJ LeMahieu, facing him for the first time, steps in, and the fastball's on the outside corner for a strike at 93, and that's about where he'll live, 91 to 93 with the fastball.
Right at the major league average. Major league average is 92.6 to be exact on the fastball.
And that pitch is fouled off. Nola just turned 25 about a week ago, and he got to the big leagues quickly. He was a dominant pitcher at LSU. He pitched in his hometown of Baton Rouge, and within a year of being drafted, he was in the big leagues.
He was 7th overall pick in 2014.
Here's the 0-2, and that fastball is swatted foul.
And some guys, for Nola, he stands on the extreme first base side of the rubber. So some guys, when they do that, are only able to pitch to their glove side because it's just a more natural fit for him. But where he stands, he can go glove side or arm side.
Curveball, and this is slowly hit to third, and that is going to be a situation where DJ's got to hustle to second, and he will on the throwing error by J.P. Crawford. When he turned and went to second, you were thinking like I was, this may be interesting because Cesar Hernandez had gotten to the baseball very quickly. But the thought he may have a play, but a good break for the Rockies.
Well, it's just to be able to field this for Crawford, he has to barehand it. There's very few guys, and we see one every night that can make this play. But he'll go for a hit for DJ, and then the air on the throw, and that's something that the Phillies have done a lot of. That's their 50th air this year. Last in the National League in fielding percentage, second to last in all of baseball at .979.
So take advantage here. Charlie Blackmon has faced Nola, and he has produced against Nola. He produces against everybody. He's 3 for 4 against Aaron Nola with a couple of doubles. He's hit 16 of his last 17 games.
342 during that time.
It's fouled off. A center cut fastball, 1-1. Charlie naturally a pull hitter, and he'll be looking to do the same here at the very least. There's not a complete shift on, though. Cesar Hernandez, who's a wonderful athlete at second base, is about 15-20 feet on the outfield grass. 1-1. Now 1-2. You know, that curveball that Charlie in essence chased, he may have realized it's going to be down, but it's a pitch that if he can get the bat on, he's going to pull it on the ground and produce at the very least what he's trying to do, and that's move DJ.
And sometimes you'll think about that in the box. You go, oh, I see the curveball, but maybe it's not quite. But if I can get the guy over, that's because that's the one you can bring your top hand to the baseball.
And he did the job on a tough pitch, Huey. That is not an easy one to pull. That was a sinking fastball away. So Charlie Blackmon with a great team at bat. He'll get an 0 for 1, but everybody in that dugout is going to go give him a high five.
And he'll gladly sacrifice that 0 for 1. That was a turned over pitch running away from Charlie. Charlie did exactly what he wanted to do, short of getting a base hit and driving him in. Make sure he's at third base, because already, think about this, Drew. We're in the first inning. Runner at third. They got Nolan at the plate, and they're playing the infield in.
Tip of the cap to John Gray, perhaps.
Perhaps.
You know, John hasn't pitched great lately, but he has the kind of stuff that when he's on, you know, he could shut down an offense.
Or maybe Gabe Kapler saying, our offense isn't going real well right now, and I got to make sure I keep this as a low-scoring affair.
Yeah, maybe a combination of both, but that's unusual.
I'm just saying, first inning with Nolan up at the plate.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be Kingery at shortstop with Nolan standing there. That just missed. Very close, but called the ball. So it's 1-1. See Nola with that arm slot. Jeff gets natural sink on the baseball.
Yeah, it's not over the top. It's not over the top. It's not sidearm. It's a 3/4, but it's got some whip to it.
One, and did he go? Nope. Home plate umpire is Roberto Ortiz. He checked with crew chief Jeff Kellogg. So it's 2-1 on Nolan. Nolan had, by his standards, a rough series against Arizona, just 1 for 12, which means
somebody's paying.
Philadelphia is probably going to pay.
Somebody's paying.
Bouncing baseball, and Kingery gets to it. DJ comes halfway down and then goes back. Kingery, I thought off the bat that is going to have eyes and get into left field.
Well, Wentz Crawford dove for it and went over his head. But Kingery, he ranges to his right. They watered in front of home plate because Nola gets some ground balls, but during batting practice, this field was extremely hard, and they overwatered it then. And now you will get the shift for Cargo.
Cargo 1 for 3 last year when he faced Nola. Last 11, he's hitting .400. A couple home runs. He's driven in 10. Trying to drive in another one here. And Cargo was a late scratch on Saturday, did not play on Sunday, so he's had a full 72+ hours of rest on a back that had tightened up on him. Talked to him in the clubhouse this afternoon. He says he feels great.
So there was a 24 hours though where it was awful.
1-1, good take.
I just like Cargo now, even after that last take, still reminding himself how he wants to load the lower half, how he doesn't want to get over rotated on the upper half.
I haven't seen him do that movement, that Nolan movement where you punch with your top hand frequently. And it's on 2 hops to second, and Nola gets out of it. So the Rockies failed to cash in. DJ LeMahieu ended up at second after his at bat. John Gray to the mound when we come back. Philadelphia, the Rockies will have John Gray on the mound, and let's take a look at Gabe Kapler's lineup this evening. Cesar Hernandez will lead it off in the Southwest batting order. Then it's a good-looking young player, Rhys Hoskins. Odubel Herrera has been cooled off the last few weeks, but he got off to a fabulous start this year. Carlos Santana, the former Twin, Scott Kingery, Nick Williams, Jorge Alfaro, J.P. Crawford, Aaron Nola. And the first pitch is just a tad bit inside, and it's called ball 1 by Roberto Ortiz. Big John in search of his 7th win this year.
And I thought he made some small strides in his last start at Cincinnati. You know, because he had come off a season low in inning pitch the game before, but in Cincinnati, 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 101 pitches, so tied a season high. It's a slider this year for John. Opponent's hitting 260 off the slider when last year they hit 167.
The other number that jumps out at me, if you're into some of the advanced metrics, I'll give you a number in a moment after this pitch. Fouled off 2-2. Batted balls in play. The league average is always right around 300. against John, right now it's 383, which is the highest ever since highest ever period. You go back to Les Sweetwood in 1930. And you say, well, what does that mean? What it means is John has been somewhat unlucky. And if you think of his starts, if you're a Rockies fan that, you know, watches, as so many of you do, you know, inning to inning and night after night, you notice John has given up a lot of bleeders and bloops. I'm not saying he hasn't gotten hit hard at times. John would be the first to tell you that. But there have been an inordinate number of hits that you go, oh, broken bat, and it drops. Or you know, the 14 hopper that finds a way through. So you hope that it corrects to the mean, which means that you know, closer to that 300 average, and John is dealing with less traffic going forward.
Yeah, as you're saying, the major league average right now is 294 on the BABIP.
Right.
And if you go to the history of the Rockies, who has the highest one, that'd be Jeff Francis. In 2005, he had a 343 BABIP, which is still 40 points less than what John has right now.
Story will get the speedy Hernandez by a step, 1 out.
Good thing Trevor showed off that rocket arm. So Hernandez got down the line.
And he's a good athlete, Cesar Hernandez. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively. And Tom Murphy again is back in the big leagues, and he's inserted right in the starting lineup. He's worked very hard with Mark Strittmatter, who's the roving catching instructor and does such a marvelous job. And he's made great strides, flexibility-wise, getting a little bit lower, pitch calling. Buddy was talking about that today. So Murph is catching John Gray as Rhys Hoskins steps in. And that pitch is at 97 off the plate, ball 1. Hoskins is a very patient young hitter. He walks quite a bit, and he's got a lot of pop. Off the plate, 2-0.
Well, and if you're wondering too about Rhys and the helmet, you know, because it's on both sides. He had his jaw broken earlier, so that's why he's got it double flapped.
Yeah, he just came off the disabled list a couple of days ago. He hit a home run in his first game back. John pulls 3 fastballs in a row in the same spot, so it's 3-0. And that is inside, so a 4-pitch walk, which is unusual because John normally has outstanding control. I'll bring up Odubel Herrera.
That's John's just his 23rd walk in 70 innings. 70 in the 3rd inning now.
And even despite this kind of rough patch for Gray, his strikeout to walk ratio is in the neighborhood of 4-1, which is just outstanding.
And when you're hoping, it's 2.5 to 1 if you're a good pitcher.
That strange stance by Herrera. I mean, you talk about wide open.
Jose Batista immediately comes to mind for me. Jose with Toronto.
Toronto, Atlanta, and now he's with who signed to the Yankees? Who signed to the Mets? Was it the Mets who signed him?
Mets. I mean, look at that wide open, but then it gets closed in a hurry.
0-2. He had a rough series against Milwaukee. He was 0 for 13. He was hitting in the mid 300s the first 6 weeks of the season. He's down over his last 20 games at 163.
Tony Batista, not Jose Batista. Remember Tony Batista?
Tony Batista, yeah.
With Toronto? That's who I was trying to think of.
Right.
And I said,
Jose is with the Mets.
Yeah, he is. But Tony was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, that wide open
Oh,
stance.
my goodness.
John ahead 0-2, 1 out. And the curveball is high and away. Phillies have been outstanding at home. They're 20-11 at home. Gentle check on Hoskins. Hoskins does have 3 bags.
Well, the Phillies only have 25 stolen bases as a ball club.
One and 2 on Herrera, and this ball lined toward Cargo, and he'll move over and make the catch. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Carlos Santana. Rocky saw him last year when they played the Indians. One of the bigger names to move on during the offseason. Signed an $80 million deal to come to Philadelphia.
That was a shocker. That was a head scratcher for me. Just for that length of a contract and for that money, just I thought he would re-sign with Cleveland.
Well, he had a great run in Cleveland. He's a switch hitting first baseman who has power and discipline at the plate. He walks quite a bit. In fact, he's walked this year, despite the low batting average. He's walked more than he has struck out.
This is kind of the Phillies in a nutshell as far as walks and strikeouts. Now, Santana might be the outlier to this, but they walk a lot, do the Phillies. 10.2% walk rate, which leads all of baseball, but they also strike out the most in baseball. 25.8% of the time.
And if they maintain that, if you look at Gabe Kapler, that would be a major league record.
Yeah, they would break the Brewers record from last year.
2-0 on Santana, and that's a strike.
Right at the bottom of the Subaru strike zone, 97.
Off the plate, 3-1. Here's the walk situation in the National League. So they strike out a lot, but they walk a lot. 3-1, and that's another walk by John. And again, very unusual. So 2 are on with 2 outs for Scott Kingery, the shortstop.
For the Win is brought to you by Pizza Ranch and On the Road again. The Rockies 21-14 this year, 3rd best win percentage in the National League. That's a .600 winning percentage. Last year, over 35 games, the Rocks were a little bit higher as far as their win record out on the road. But still, when you're talking about being 7 games over 500 on the road, it's a good place to start. So they're back out on the road again. It's first time out now for Steve Foster. Seems like too many times this year poor Steve's had to go out there in the first inning.
So Kingery, who was raised as a second baseman, when J.P. Crawford went down earlier this year with a forearm strain, he was moved to shortstop. Crawford's back, and now Crawford's playing some third base, and we like what Kingery's done at shortstop. And he pulls this down the line, foul. Jumped on a slider that was up. Kingery is an Arizona native like you, Huey, and a product of the U of A. In fact, he was the Pac-12 Player of the Year in 2015. 1 strike on the middle infielder, 2 strikes as he dropped a curveball in his lap.
Well, for Kingery, part of the reason why they let Freddie Galvis go, because they knew they had Kingery waiting in the wings. You mentioned Crawford, so they had some options and they wanted to go a little younger. They like this kid.
Well, they've done that in a number of spots, going young. 2 strikes. Two men on, both via walk, with 2 outs here in the first inning. No score. Rockies at Phillies. First time Colorado has played Philadelphia this year. This ball is hit well left center field, and it is gone. Kingery with just his 3rd home run of the year. It's a 3-run shot. And Philadelphia with a quick lead, and those 2 walks now really painful.
Well, and you're also ahead of Kingery too. Fastball, and that tailed back in, and Kingery did not miss it. Very short, compact swing. Goes over the wall at this 374 mark. That's the 8th home run John has given up on the year, just a 3rd to a right-handed batter.
That was the first home run Kingery has hit since April the 10th. He was 4 for his previous 30 at the plate, but you described it accurately. He was really short to that baseball. Here's Nick Williams, another young player that they're trying to build around. Williams went 0-2. So many of the guys in that Phillies lineup. You're looking at Nola, who just turned 24. Kingery, who just hit the home runs, 24. Nick Williams at the plate is 24. I still think back to all those days coming here in the strike 3, 2007, 2011. It was the veterans. It was, you know, Rollins and big kid at first base. 3-0 Philadelphia. All right, Jenny, thanks very much. First pitch missed to Trevor Story. It's 1-0. Aaron Nola will face Story, Parra, and Desmond in the Rockies half of the second inning. Rockies trail 3-0 on the Kingery 3-run home run. And that's a strike. Boy, what a series against Arizona Trevor had. Unfortunately, the Rockies unable to muster any wins, but Trevor hit 3 home runs in that series. He's hitting .361 so far in the month of June.
7 for 12 in that Arizona series.
The wicked curveball, 1-2.
A lot of highlights too for Trevor. I can forget the 2 home run game, 4 RBIs. One to center field, another one to left field.
And he gets him on a curveball. That's the first strikeout for Nola, who averages just under a strikeout per inning pitched. A year ago, he was above that threshold. Here's Gerardo Parra.
Yeah, but for Nola this year, his whip is .96, 3rd best in the National League. Not giving up many home runs. Almost slugging just .281 against Nola.
Nola has been very, very consistent. He's given up more than 3 runs in a game only 1 time this year, and that was 4. And it's command of 3 pitches.
Yeah. Well, it helps when you can do that too, because now guys go up to the plate trying to be a little bit more aggressive, because they got to figure, I've got to hit that first fastball that I see, and then if he throws a get me over curveball, you're behind in the count, and then you become more defensive as a hitter.
Gerardo's in a good place offensively. .344 for Gerardo in the month of June. Parra started against Nola last year with the Rockies. He was 0 for 4 in that ball game. Nola went 7 innings in Denver, allowed a couple runs on 6 hits.
Nola has kind of that pitcher's body too. 6'2", 6'3", right around 200 pounds. Might weigh a little bit more than that, but real free and easy with the motion.
He was well thought of in high school. That's how you end up at LSU, even if you live in Baton Rouge. But he was drafted in the 22nd round by Toronto out of high school. And there's that curveball. He has no fear to throw it to righties or lefties. 2 strikeouts in the inning, and that'll bring up Ian Desmond. Yeah, there's what he's done from a strikeout perspective so far in his young career.
There are 3 guys that he's ahead of. Pretty impressive resume that they have. Lee Hamels and Kurt Schilling.
Yep. Now this guy has become ace material. Fouled off by Desmond.
Well, in a ballpark too that can give up some hits, give up some home runs, because it's small at times, plays small, but he's 5-0 with the 194 here at Citizens Bank.
And he brings that back over the outside corner. Well, he's 13-3 with a 207 at home over his last 17 at the bank. So yes, this is an offensive park, but he has tamed it. You can see right there, he went away, then he went up, down, in, out. Moving fastball that's, got life on it, got a lot of life. You've seen him as high as 95.
Feel for pitching.
He has a great feel for pitching.
Here comes the curveball. And that was a different curveball than the one he threw to Trevor and Gerardo. The one he threw to those two guys is more over the top. The old 12-6 had more downward action. That one got off to the side in more of a slurvy type action.
They may go back to it, yeah. Did he hold up? Nope, he did, yep. For a couple of years ago, when we were in Philadelphia, they were talking about their rotation in Reading and how talented it was. Well, Aaron Nola was part of that rotation. I think when you get, the check swings like that, that speaks to the kind of stuff a guy has.
Yeah, because he threw you 2 or 3 curveballs in a row, and then he shook to a fastball, wanted to come inside. And you start to lean, you start to dive out over the plate because you think, well, it's going to be something away from me again. And then he runs it in on your hands.
Yeah, that fastball over the outer third of the plate. He struck out the side in the second, middle of inning number 2. It's 3-0 Philadelphia. Sportsnet is brought to you by the 2018 Toyota Tundra and your hometown Toyota stores. And by Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees, that's transparency. Celebrating Eric Young tonight, one of our all-time favorites, EY. First base coach with the Atlanta Braves now. Tremendous player with the Rockies, coach for the Rockies. Stayed in the game a long time. Brought us EY Jr.
My former teammate with the Cubs.
Yeah, that's right. You played with Eric. First pitch is in there, strike one on the catcher, Jorge Alfaro. EY has the ability to light up a room, man. Big, broad smile. We're talking about those great Philadelphia teams, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins up the middle, and Carlos Ruiz, of course, forever
Chooch
behind the plate. Chooch.
Ryan Howard, Jason Worth, Shane Victorino.
It's no surprise they won a lot of baseball games, including a world championship. 0-2. Boy, that's a good hook right there. Nice start to the second inning for John. And that'll bring up J.P. Crawford. Look at that. EY signing for, he signed autographs left and right. The guys that get that reputation, that always sign, he was one of those guys.
Well, he liked to give back.
Yep.
He knew what the city meant to him and his family, but also what EY meant to the city.
Sure.
Because you think about the history of baseball in Colorado, and EY with the home run to kind of set the stage.
We had a poll. I think it was a CenturyLink poll earlier this year. Greatest moment in Rockies history, and EY's home run always scores very highly on that.
I think everybody remembers where they were.
2 strikes on Crawford. Fastball's high. That's strike 3.
That's slider.
That's that slider. It's hard to, and unfair, to read into facial expression sometimes, but John looks hacked off, and I'm sure he is inside. But those were determined pitches. The 2 that struck out Alfaro and Crawford. He's being really aggressive here. He's got Nola at the plate naturally now, but that first inning, walking 2 and then, you know, giving up the home run to Kingery is not going to sit well.
Well, I think that's probably why he's hacked off, because he said, I gave him 2 freebies before the hit.
Yeah, you can live with a solo home run, but put 2 guys on in front, that's harder to swallow. That's a strike. 1 and 2 on Nola. 0.42 batting average, so not much offensively. He was not appreciably better last year because he has a career average of 0.64. He knows who he is. And that is 4 strikeouts in a row for John Gray. We'll go to the 3rd. The Rockies trailing 3-0.
The third inning of work for Aaron Nola, who just struck out the side in the top of the 2nd inning. We were talking about how good this pitcher is. He's somebody you may not know who he is, but check out where he ranks in one of these advanced metrics. It's called expected weighted on base average. It basically takes StatCast data that has launch angle and exit velocity, and then adds in strikeouts and walks to get rid of defense in general. This is a stat you look at very much like on base percentage. These are the top 5 in baseball. They're all superstars. Verlander leads the group, the 229, then DeGrom, then Scherzer, Chris Sale, and then Aaron Nola. MLB League average is about 330. If you're looking at the Rockies and you're curious who's number 1 on the Rockies, it's Germán Marquez. But that gives you a good example of how good Aaron Nola's stuff is, limiting that soft contact, not walking many, with the high strikeouts. A great number to take a look at. Guys?
All right, Spilly, thank you. The Rockies will try to get after and upset that expected weighted on-base percentage here in the third with Tom Murphy leading it off. First at bat in the big leagues in 2018. Murphy was tearing it up in the PCL. 16 home runs, 45 driven in. A couple years ago, in a short period of time, he had 5 home runs for the Rockies and 44 at bats. That was 2016. First got to the big leagues briefly in 2015. 2 strikes.
Albuquerque was in Omaha yesterday, and Tom DH'd in that game. Found out afterwards that he was going to get the call.
He was able to take early batting practice today. This is pop foul. Spilly, did you you were throwing early BP today? Did you throw to Murph?
I did not throw to Tom, but he was hitting very, very well. The guy that impressed me the most, and yes, Tom Murphy looked great, a lot of opposite field home runs, but Carlos Gonzalez was hitting balls into the second deck regularly and opposite field homers.
Well, he's pretty good.
Yeah, but Tom Murphy looked fantastic. His swing looks a lot smoother than what I've seen in the past.
Takes that curveball, 1 and 2.
I don't know how Spilly's elbow is, though, after early BP.
Hurting. Hurting. Yeah. It's really soft. I mean, the Spilly that we remember as a player and the Spilly now as a broadcaster, 2 completely different people.
It's okay. We've all changed.
Yeah, soft. Breaking ball. He stayed back and lines it to right center field. You got to like that piece of hitting. And Murphy is going to end up at second with a double. Spilly's scouting report right on for once.
Save it.
Good for Tom Murphy, though.
Welcome back, Murph.
Welcome back. Stays on the curveball. He waited, and then that pitch backed up, and he took it opposite. Pulls the hands in close to his body, and then shows you some strength of Tom to get it to the wall, and then Herrera had to cut it off. That's neat.
Yeah, great to see. Now John Gray trying to get a bunt down to advance Murphy. Rockies got DJ to third with 1 out in the first inning, but Arenado and Cargo both grounded out to prevent the Rockies from scoring. 1-1. Spilly?
Let me ask you a question, Huey. For Tom Murphy, he goes into 2018 expecting to make a team. He doesn't. He goes down to AAA, and he said he had a change of mind. He had to be positive. He wanted to have fun playing baseball. How many times did you do that as a major leaguer that went down to the minor leagues and had to change your philosophy?
Well, a couple different times, unfortunately. I mean, that's no fun when you have to go down. It happened to me in 95. I started the year in AAA after I'd had 4.5 years in the big leagues. And then there comes a point where you say, you know what, I'm not having any fun. I got to do something different. And I think for Tom, last year was such a wash after having his wrist broken, or his forearm broken in spring training.
Yeah, because he was expected to split the duties with Tony, and John unable to get a bunt down. So that's a strikeout. 4th strikeout for Aaron Nola.
Well, and then the other thing, too, for Tom is he sees, well, they signed Chris Iannetta to a 2-year deal. I've got to do something. And to his credit, that when he went to AAA, he put up the numbers. It's too many times you'll see guys get sent down, and then they pout for so long that they fall into that rabbit hole and can't get out of it.
Yeah, I think it's the toughest thing for you guys. On one hand, you say to play well, you have to have fun. But when you're not playing well, it's pretty hard to go, hey, man, I'm in a great mood today. I know I'm 1 for my last 16.
Yeah.
This ball's on the ground is short. Kingery throws out LeMahieu, and that'll take a 2-out hit. Charlie Blackmon coming up. Fans, when the Rockies score 7 or more runs in any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Make sure you do between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Liv Moss at Taco Bell. So here's Blackmon. Did a nice job in the first, pulling an outside sinker to the right side to move DJ, who had singled and moved to second on an error. He got him to third with 1 out.
Charlie hoping to keep it going. 343 average with runners in scoring position.
Inside, Alfaro blocks it. 300 has always been that demarcation point where you go, man, he's a 300 hitter.
Yeah.
High praise, right?
Yes.
And great accomplishment. Do you know there's only 13 guys in the big leagues right now that have over 3,000 plate appearances that have a 300 or better career average? DJ LeMahieu and Charlie Blackmon are 2 of those 13. DJ's 301 coming in today. Chuck 304. 1 and 2.
You said just 13 guys?
13 guys.
Mercy.
Yep. and it's going to be a couple of years from now. We'll say there's only 9 guys because the average isn't going up.
No,
it's going the
down.
other way. Last time I checked, it was around 245, 246. The league average. A year ago was around 250. It'll come up a little bit in the summer. It's already come up from the first month and a half or so. It is right at 246 right now. That's the lowest since 1972, when the league average was 242.
Yeah, but you're right. The weather early on, it's cold. But then we saw what happens when it's 80, 90 degrees.
And that is strike 3 on the inside corner. Blackmon not happy with the call. And again, the Rockies leave a runner at third. Murphy had the leadoff double.
Rockies trailing this ball game 3-0, courtesy of a Scott Kingery home run in the first inning. Hey fans, you want to make sure you join us later on. The Marlins are in town. It's the first 15,000 of you through the gates for the Rockies-Marlins game on June 24th will receive a 25th anniversary season Blake Street Bombers t-shirt courtesy of Coca-Cola.
Cesar Hernandez fouls his pitch off. 1 ball, 1 strike on Hernandez.
See, there's the fanatic. Was it last year that he came up here and threw popcorn all over you guys, or was that, am I mixing it up? Was it?
Spilly, was that last year?
I'm not cheating on Rosie. I really like the Philly Fanatic. Getting asked.
What?
The Fanatic's the best in baseball.
I think the Fanatic is the best in baseball.
But Rosie Red is my favorite.
You have a soft spot in your heart.
That's fouled off. Rosie Red came by the other day and
Did she really?
Yeah, did not ask
No.
about Spilly at all.
She did or she didn't?
Did not. Sorry.
Crushed right now.
I didn't want to. She did, Spilly. She actually did. I don't want you to be hurting the rest of the game. 3-2.
Now, you guys know that visiting teams, one of the great traditions with the Philly Fanatic, and I'm going to try to do it tomorrow, is stealing the Fanatic's keys to his four-wheeler. So tomorrow, I'll try to get it, and we'll make him do something.
You got to do it. This ball lined to center field. It'll get down for a base hit. So Hernandez with 10 stolen bases at first. That breaks a string of 4 straight strikeouts by John Gray. Here's our CenturyLink high-speed challenge question for the evening. It's apropos we ask it right now, and you'll see why. Which mascot would you like to take out to dinner? Billy the Marlin, the Philly Fanatic. Billy made sure we put Rosie the Red in there. Or Bernie Brewer. We're probably going to have a few libations if you go with Bernie.
A few?
Potentially. I'm taking the Fanatic. The Fanatic's entertaining. You can't have a bad time with the Fanatic, right?
No, but Billy the Marlin, wouldn't you get some good seafood?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Boy, I don't know what kind of conversationalist he is.
Really, any of them?
Here's Rhys Hoskins. He walked and would score on the 3-run first inning home run by Scott Kingery.
Well, thinking about Billy the Marlin, he would be a terrible guest to eat dinner with, because every time he'd kebab everything he ate. Bernie the Brewer, I don't want to be putting somebody in a wheelbarrow at the end of the dinner, so he's out.
Right. I know this is going to end up Rosie the Red. So why? So Rosie Red, Philly Fanatic. Why?
Well, you remember we had dinner with the Fanatic last year, and it was just popcorn all over the place. So
that was dinner. I thought that was like snacks galore, huh?
In the eyes of Rosie Red, I mean, just the entire dinner would be great. You'd never take your eyes off her. It's great.
I can't wait till he steals his keys to that 4-runner tomorrow.
Did anybody mess with him before the game, Spilly?
Do you remember a couple years ago when somebody stole the Fanatic's outfit? It was stolen.
No.
Yeah, we were heartbroken because the first time we ever saw the Fanatic come out and do the pregame lineup for the Rockies, and this was like back in 2006, and he had to get the media guide to figure out who was who. So he comes out in front of the dugout, and you hear, batting leadoff. It's Corey Sullivan. And he's like looking straight up in the air, like, who the heck is Corey Sullivan? Then they go, playing shortstop, Clint Barmas. And he's like, all right, now I haven't heard about these first two guys. Then he starts walking off to go find a media guy. Then he hears Todd Helton. He's like, oh yeah, the guy with the bad back. Acts like an old person. And then he gets Matt Holliday. Now he starts flipping through the media guide, and then he finally eventually quits. We've never laughed so hard before a game. We were completely dominated by the mascot.
That's outside, 3-1.
Jeff Francis would come out 15 minutes earlier than he would normally, just here in Philadelphia, so he could watch the Fanatic do the lineups. That's how good this guy is.
How many Red Bulls did the Fanatic have before the game?
Enough.
It's already climbed up like 6 sections. 3-1 on Hoskins. And a slider swung on and missed, 3-2. You got to steal the keys tomorrow.
Yeah. So we did it one time. I did it one time since we're sharing Fanatic stories. It's great. I had the keys, taped them up above the bat rack in our dugout, and here comes the Fanatic coming to get the keys. And we used to do this thing where we dunk on each other before the game. We thought it was great. And here comes Yorvi Torrealba. Hoskins works a walk. So Torrealba comes walking up the steps late, and the Fanatic is about to get dunked on, and Torrealba sees the Fanatic sees Torrealba. Torrealba's carrying his bat and scares the Fanatic off. And we missed our chance to dunk on the Philly Fanatic. Still mad about it.
Yorvi ran him off?
Yorvi ran him off. He had no idea what we had planned for him.
Oh.
Tomorrow, though, it's payback.
Payback. Got to get it tomorrow. Right now, John Gray's got to get out of this little mess. A single and a walk. Third allowed by John.
Well, the
and
second one,
Odubel Herrera, who lined out to right, is at the plate.
and the second one to Hoskins.
Slowly hit, and only one play for Desmond, and that's to get Herrera. So 2 runners move up, and that'll bring up Carlos Santana. The Rockies down by 3 will have to bring the infield in.
Yeah, with Nola on the hill. And I think you got to come all the way in too with Hernandez's speed at third. You can't take a chance on one of those soft little 2 or 3 hoppers that doesn't quite get to you to allow him to score.
First pitch misses just off the inside corner. 1-0. John misses way inside there. It's 2-0. He walks Santana his first time up. Rockies trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. Blew that lead in Cincinnati, lost in 13, 7-5, and then that rough weekend against Arizona. Just joining us, John walked 2 in the first inning. There were 2 outs. He was ahead of Scott Kingery 1 and 2, and Kingery lined the ball into the seats in left center. 3-run home run, and that's where we sit right now.
It's a good block from Murph.
And that's 3-1 on Santana. And they're looking in the dugout to see if they want to put Santana on and pitch to Kingery to set up the possibility of getting a ground ball to get out of the inning. 5 3-ball counts now and 13 hitters. And that's not like Gray. And that's outside. So that'll load up the bases. Now you need to find a way to get Kingery to hit it at somebody and
try to
get
turn
a twin kill it.
Yeah, try to turn a double play. Steve Foster out to the mound again. Scott Kingery short to the baseball on this fastball inside, takes it out to left center field, about 380 feet away. And that was in the first inning. John could have made a pitch. He's out of that inning with no score. Guys starting to mill around out in the bullpen.
And you'd rather not have milling around in the bottom of the third inning. Kingery came in hitting .212. A home run is third this year. 19 RBIs. You know, John Gray and Aaron Nola have faced off before, back in college in a super regional. Oklahoma against LSU, and LSU and Nola won 1-0.
You know, those super regionals just ended last night.
How much fun were many of those? Love college baseball.
Yep, off to Omaha now.
Off to Omaha, 1-0 on Kingery. And it's 2-0.
Well, just off this Subaru strike zone inside with the backup slider.
And even though John has struggled at times this year, almost a 50-50 strike and ball rate, he does not typically walk a lot of guys. Goes to the slider there. Kingery was sitting dead red. It's 2-1. And I know the last start he walked in a couple of starts ago, walked in a couple of guys. But one of the many intriguing things about John and his talent, a power pitcher who is not all over the place. You see guys with big arms, but they typically walk a lot of guys. Gray typically does not. This ball line to center field, and it's caught out there by Charlie. It'll be a sac fly, but that saved another run perhaps. Hernandez scores. Kingery's now driven in all 4. And the Phillies have a 4-0 lead.
Good jump by Charlie in center field, because he needed to have that jump to make this play. And 2 times they tried to sneak the fastball past Kingery, and he's got the barrel to it. Charlie gets it right above the grass in the outfield. And as you said, 4 RBIs now tonight for Kingery, 20 on the season.
Here's Nick Williams. And Nick went. Williams was a second-round pick out of high school, and he decided to sign. Otherwise, he was going to go to Texas A&M and play not only baseball, obviously, but he's going to play football as well. Extremely well thought of wide receiver. That's an
big time. Well, I was in a big time program too.
Yeah.
Be able to be a 2-sport star.
Well, you know, there's another would have been, could have been Aggie that had the opportunity to do both, who became a Rocky. At one point, he was the Rockies' top prospect, Chew Freeman.
Isn't Chew running a baseball academy down in Dallas?
I think you're right. Chew and Brad Hopp were very close. They played amateur baseball together. That's inside, 1-2. Spilly may know more. Spilly, do you guys overlap at all?
From my mic on? Yeah, there we go. No, we do not overlap.
You do not overlap or did not overlap?
Did not.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. 1-2, and that's a good block by Murph. 2-2.
Struck out Williams his first time up looking on a curveball.
This is a comebacker, and John will go to first, and that will end the inning. Another run for the Phillies. They loaded the bases, got a sac fly from Scott Kingery. Speaking of, we said earlier that EY Sr. can light up a room, EY Jr. can light up a room with his smile. And Dallas, he steals the room. Here's Nolan leading off. The Rockies got to get some offense going. First pitch swinging, and it's a pop fly to Herrera in center field. One out, and Cargo will take his turn. That was a great spot.
Oh my goodness, that was cutting up his steak. Dad, you're embarrassing me.
Bringing his teddy bear. Cargo grounded to second to end a first inning threat when LeMahieu was at third. Rockies have had two base runners. LeMahieu, an infield hit, moved to second on a throwing error by J.P. Crawford. And then a leadoff double by Murphy in the third. He ended up at third base with two outs. There's a strike. Charlie Blackmon was caught looking at a hip side fastball. Cargo, a lifetime .365 hitter against the Phils. And I don't think those numbers include when he was 10 for 17 in the 09 playoffs against Philadelphia.
They don't, and that's when he was hitting leadoff for the Rockies.
He was the best player in that series. And that was, for me, that will always be the coming out party for Carlos Gonzalez, because the next year he was arguably the best player in baseball. He was voted by the players the best player in baseball, finished third in the National League MVP. But remember, he won the Players' Choice Player of the Year in 2010. 2 strikes on Cargo. Held up.
No, he didn't go. Ball running away on the Subaru strike zone, pitch 4.
Nola's brother Austin was a middle infielder in professional baseball. The Marlins, been in the Marlins organization, they converted him to catcher this year. And down in New Orleans, he's hitting .316 in AAA. He also, his brother Austin, also went to LSU.
New Orleans is a tough place to hit because that air is so heavy. It's like trying to cut it with a steak knife.
Hot, hot, hot. 2-2. Three and 2. Nola's got 6 or more innings in 21 straight home games. That's how consistent he's been. 3 and 2 on Cargo. And a bouncing ball to the middle of the diamond. And Kingery is there. He gets Cargo by a step. That's where the shift pays off.
We had that one played perfectly.
Yeah, they did.
Well, suites are still available for the July 3rd and July 4th fireworks games, and all suite clients get to enjoy the fireworks from the field. Call 303 Rockies today. Get your suite on.
Beautiful Philadelphia Art Museum. Run up those steps like everybody else.
Did it today.
I know you did. Head to the other side. Run along the Schuylkill River. Boaters out there.
Got
the skulls out there.
Yeah, there wasn't any skulls out there today because the water was too dirty and
you got to get up early.
I'm not getting up early just to see the
They're out
water.
early. 1-0 on Story, and Trevor lost his bat, and fortunately nobody got hit with it.
Went into an empty section. Makes it over that high fence that they've put up, and some bat toss.
You know what? To get a bat toss like that, you have to have bat speed.
That's what I'm saying. To get it that high, too. And you get a souvenir.
Inside. No, called strike. Or no. What was that? I mean, was there a delayed call? What scoreboard went to 1 and 2? The big scoreboard out there went to 2 and 1. Trevor's
trying to figure out too.
I thought it's Roberto indicated strike, a little bit delayed. It is a strike. 1 and 2.
He goes back to the curveball.
Aaron Nola and Trevor Story would have been teammates at LSU because that's where Trevor had committed to. Of course, he signed out of high school. Trevor's excited because come the weekend, he'll be back home in the DFW area. He's going to have a ton of family and friends all weekend long as the Rockies take on the Rangers. 3-2 changeup. One thing you notice in watching Nola pitch, Huey, everything's around the zone.
But nothing's right in the middle of the zone.
No. Well, and he also hits a catcher's glove.
Yes. Yeah.
And look how steady he's been in terms of number of pitches per inning.
And that's what he does. He's 7th best in the major leagues, averaging just at 15 pitches per inning. The last two guys against Nola, too, have taken him to a 3-ball count, where the first 12 batters, there wasn't a 3-ball count.
You said it initially, the league's hitting just 204 against his fastball. And you can see why. There's nothing straight in his fastball, ever.
Sometimes it'll cut a little bit, sometimes it'll sink, have some run.
And that is on the outside corner. Strikeout number 6 for Nola. Rockies trail 4-0, middle of 4th. Sportsnet is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Gerardo Parra did he steal the keys or just chuck the keys today? Well, that was last year. Here's the catcher Alfaro, and he hits it on the ground to Story. Trevor comes and gets it. 1 out. J.P. Crawford will be next. So the Phillies last year, Huey, through 63 games, were 21-42.
Yeah.
Already out of it. This year they're 33-30 and very much in it. That's a huge difference. And the wild thing is Gabe Kapler, when they came home after their first road trip, home opener, anything, even in Philadelphia, you can get some love. Well, that was right after, I believe, he tried to go to the bullpen to bring in a lefty.
Didn't have somebody warmed up.
Wasn't warmed up, and there was something else that happened. So when he was announced, you know, to go out on opening day and take his spot on the first base line in front of a sellout at Citizens Bank, he got booed.
Big time.
Which I don't know if I've ever heard of that.
And he pulled Nola at a small pitch count in a different game.
Yeah,
I mean,
with
it was
the team up by like 6 runs,
Yeah,
that
it
kind
was-
of thing.
yeah.
So it was a couple of events, but I'm sure that people are now warming to Gabe because Philadelphia, who did not have super high expectations this year, have been, you know, a good team so far through this first half. One of the things about Kapler, the youngest managers in baseball at 42, and there is, forget just managers, there may not be a person in baseball more physically fit than Gabe Kapler. Joe Girardi would have given him a run for his money. Joe now in the television
Walt,
business. You know, Walt takes great care of himself. This ball is lined to right center field. A base hit for J.P. Crawford. 1 out and 1 aboard. That'll bring up Aaron Nola. More with Spilly.
Let's talk about Gabe Kapler for a second. Many people probably don't remember back in 2002, Gabe Kapler was actually in the Rockies organization as a 26-year-old. During that, he had 119 at-bats, hit .311, 2 home runs, 17 RBIs. He went to spring training with the team the next year and really just did not play well. Ended up playing a couple more years in Boston, then he went to Japan, became a manager, then went back to playing with the Milwaukee Brewers and then some with the Tampa Bay Rays. But this is a guy pretty well respected in the game. Obviously, nobody's more physically fit than him. But I think when we're watching this day and age with the type of managers that are really starting to embrace analytics, this has become the poster child for embracing analytics at this level.
It's interesting because we know that front offices have, for a number of years, this has popped up. He's played for Murphy. Nola's got 2 outs. Have embraced analytics. And even if you were an organization that was late to the party, those don't exist anymore. Now everybody has a wing, if not the entire front office, that is well versed in the many different numbers in baseball. But the field managers, it's been a slower process, shall we say. But Gabe Kapler's part of that new wave.
Well, and because he had it when he was managing and when he was with the Dodgers. In the work that he did over there with LA.
Hernandez takes a strike.
I still find it remarkable, part of that story that Spilly was talking about, where he went to manage in the minor leagues, decided, well, you know what, I can still play, and went back and played after that.
In the big leagues.
In the big leagues, right. Yeah, he managed in 07 in Greenville.
Well, he played with his hair on fire. Yeah, he was all out.
Parts of 3 years after that.
Runner going. Murphy's throw to second. Is kicked inadvertently by Crawford. He's going to end up at third. It'll go as a stolen base and then a throwing error because you have to assign a reason as to why Crawford gets to third.
Well, it's a little unfortunate for Tom that wasn't going to get Crawford, but watch the back foot. That kicks it away into left center field. Well, Crawford to get to third.
1 ball, 1 strike on Hernandez, 1 for 2 in the game. You know, Kapler, we were talking about the draft quite a bit last week. Just the other day, we were talking about Gerard Dyson being a 50th round pick. Kapler was a 57th round pick. 1 year with the Tigers, he had 17 home runs. He did it all upper body.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of leg drive in that swing.
No. Got in 12 big league seasons, though. Hit .268 in his career in over 1,100 games. He's an interesting guy. Dabbled in broadcasting for a while. Front office work. As Huey said, managerial stop, and then went back to play. 3-2. With 79 games with the Rockies. Swung on and missed. John Gray, a big strikeout, so he leaves Crawford at third as he gets Hernandez. 4-0 as we go to the fifth.
Loving to see right now Adam Ottavino. He threw 15 pitches during a live batting practice. Said he felt great. This is also what he had to say.
You want to come back, but got to make sure you're right. I've come back too early before, and don't want to do that this time. You know, you're not good to anybody if you're not pitching well, so you won't be helping. So just trying to make sure I can pitch well, basically.
Talking to Ottavino, he said watching the bullpen currently, he understands he wants to be out there as soon as possible, but to his point, you don't want to run out there too soon where you could get hurt again and then be on the disabled list for a lot longer than he already has been. Guys?
Well, that is great news that he is on the cusp of coming back as first pitch to Gerardo Parra misses, ball one. Parra struck out swinging his first time. Spilly, by the way, I have a message from your outfield buddy, Sully.
Okay.
He said, ooh, something in. Parra not happy. He may have done that for the Phillies dugout. He was kidding. So he goes down to first. But Sully said that only players can steal the keys of the Fanatic. But I think we give you a waiver because you were a player. Now you're a broadcaster. That works.
That's a good point. You're right. Maybe I'll have to use a player to steal the keys for me, and then he could throw it to the has-been and current has-been broadcasters.
You just work it out because we want good video.
Okay.
Yeah,
we want to
sure
be
you
entertained.
take Charlie with you to get this on video.
Okay. Good
Here's
thing the
Ian
fun
Desmond.
police. Yeah, good thing the fun police is out there. Thanks, Corey.
Well, is he not? You
I
look
didn't
up
realize stealing
Debbie
the Philly
Downer.
Fanatics keys was part of the unwritten rules of baseball.
You could just blow it off and pretend I didn't tell you that. There's no witnesses. One strike on Desmond. Last game Adam Ottavino was in was May 27th. Correlation or not, probably somewhat. The bullpen has been in a tough spot since a 7.26 ERA.
Well, you take that key component out, and then it shifts everybody else around. And I think the other thing too is just there was a comfort level with Adam. I mean, he was pitching as well as anybody in the game, save maybe Josh Hader with Milwaukee. Those two guys were the ones everybody was talking about.
Yeah, and you couldn't argue any differently. I mean, his numbers are ridiculous this year. Breaking ball's in there for a strike. And you knew how things were going to set up down there. That it was going to be McGee, Shaw in the 7th inning, some combination thereof. And then in the 8th inning, Ottavino, and that the other team had no chance. And then Wade Davis in the 9th.
That was Jeff Hoffman.
Yep, Jeff's getting up. The pitch count is getting up, and John Gray is due up. That's the line drive to second. So the 8-hole hitter is Tom Murphy, who doubled. He'll come up with 1 on and 1 out.
Well, Murph came back to the big leagues with the double on a curveball in the 3rd inning.
Making his first big league start since last June 28th of last year. Runner going, breaking ball in there for a strike, and Parra easily swipes second base. He and Hernandez messing around, I think.
Stolen base number 6 for Gerardo. For 38 for the Rockies. That's one thing, if you can't get on first, that's one thing you can do against Nola. That's a 12 stolen base allowed. It's his 3rd most in the National League.
On the knees for a strike, it's 0-2. Murphy was in this situation his first time up, battled away, and then pulled his hands in on a breaking ball and stayed back on a 1-2 delivery and lined it to right center field for a double. 27-year-old catcher from upstate New York, 3rd-round pick of the Rockies out of the University of Buffalo in 2012. And I'm pretty sure, I'm going to have Dougie double check this, because I talked to Murph about this in spring training. I'm pretty sure, unfortunately, Buffalo is dropping their program.
Really?
Yep.
It's a shame.
Hate hearing that.
I do too. Doesn't matter where it is. That's why I wish a couple schools in Colorado would bring baseball back.
Amen. 1-2.
You know who you are.
Here are the call letters at the radio station.
There's more option for the kids in Colorado. There's a lot of great Division IIs. You got UNC.
The RMAC,
I mean,
is,
the RMAC's
Dixie State's
great.
coming in there. The
Yeah.
RMAC's getting better and better. It's always been a terrific
UCCS
conference.
had a guy drafted this year. I mean, Mesa.
Well, Mesa every
yeah.
year has usually a couple of guys drafted. This is in the air to pretty deep right field. On the move is Williams. Tagging is Parra. He'll go to 3rd. And with 2 outs, John Gray looks back off camera. But he's going to hit because there's 2 outs. Ryan McMahon did have a helmet on. Now the helmet's off. If Buffalo did shut down their program, they didn't play this year.
Okay.
That's a shame.
Oh, once John was allowed to hit, no reason for Jeff to stay up, continue throwing.
2 strikes on Gray. UNC had a solid year.
Yeah, they did.
A number of kids were going to Air Force.
No, there's plenty of good schools. I'm just saying there's a few more options.
Well, in the case of CU and CSU, they both originally played. CU now is the only Pac-12 school, which is a great baseball conference, the only Pac-12 school not playing baseball. You know, there are obviously a lot of cost considerations. We understand. I ran into Glenn Schwab the other day, coaching in high school. Remember Schwab?
Yes. Yeah.
By the way, he said to say hello.
Yeah, I remember
because
Schwab.
when he was coaching at Colorado State, you were playing at the University of Wyoming.
Right.
He was the last head coach at Colorado State. He's involved in high school baseball now.
Schwabi.
Yeah, it's good to see Schwabi. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And John Gray goes down swinging. So the Rockies get a runner to third once again, but they've not got a run across against Aaron Nola. It's 4-0 Phillies. Way back to the hotel. It's on the way back to the hotel. We'll come
Possibly.
get you.
31 steals, that's not a lot.
If it's like a block off of Broad Street, you're on your own. Here's Hoskins. He takes a strike on a breaking ball as we begin the bottom of the 5th inning. 3-run home run in the 1st from Scott Kingery, and then Kingery a sac fly in the 3rd. Two strikes.
First time tonight that John's been ahead of Hoskins.
2 walks tonight by Hoskins. Boy, did Hoskins ever get national attention late last year once they brought him up?
It seemed every highlight you saw was him hitting a home run.
He was the first player who's debuted since 1900 to produce 20 home runs and 45 walks in their first 250 plate appearances. He's not hitting home runs at the same rate this year. And that was close. No swing, according to Jeff Kellogg. I got another one for you on how dominant he was after his arrival last year. Hoskins, in his first 100 plate appearances last year, reached base 50 times.
Oh.
He had a 500 on base percentage. And John Gray wins this battle. That's strikeout number 6 for John.
Well, this Father's Day, give Dad the gift of baseball with MLB.tv. Watch baseball live or on demand on his favorite supported devices. Save 50% now through Father's Day. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. And kids, my kids, Father's Day Sunday, that'll be on the road, but don't forget.
Your kids are great. They won't forget. Listen, that sky, I hope, is a foreshadowing of great things to come tonight. A purple sky here in Philadelphia.
Ooh. We usually see that over our gorgeous Rocky Mountains.
That's right. One strike on Odubel Herrera. Oh, man, that got Roberto Ortiz.
I think they got him on the right arm.
Well, Roberto's been in the weight room. He's going to shake it off. He looks like you did with that year in Texas.
He got that right on the bicep. Well, it's hard. Tom's trying to block it, but where it hit, hard to do because you're set up outside. It goes inside, and then there was nothing to stop that baseball.
You know who got smoked before the game, and fortunately he was okay?
Ooh, yeah.
Ryan McMahon. He was taking ground balls at first. Cargo was in the cage, in the turtle, and he hit a line drive that Ryan didn't see, and it hit him flush on the arm.
Well, Ryan did commit one of the cardinal sins of taking ground balls during batting practice. He watched his throw too long to second base. Because what you're supposed to do, you make the throw and then turn to see where the hitter is. And he didn't do that, and he got hit.
1 ball, 1 strike on Herrera. He was taken the whole way, you could tell. He abbreviated his movement and loading. Well, and what Jeff's talking about, and if you've ever seen BP, you understand. If you haven't, it's fun to see how it works in that this is a fly ball down the right field line that it's going to be out of play. Is that in between each pitch thrown to the hitter taking batting practice, there's a guy typically on the just to the right of the cage, a coach to the left of the cage, and they're hitting ground balls. They wait. As soon as that ball's thrown, ball in flight, boom, they hit it to an infielder. Infielder fields it, flips it to wherever he's sometimes it's second, sometimes it's across the diamond as they warm up, and then they focus again on the pitch going to the batter at the plate. And that's why Huey said you never want to, you can't take your eyes off the batter at the plate for very long.
No,
and you especially don't want to do it when Cargo's at the plate and you're on the right side of the infield.
And Ryan is lucky that it didn't hurt more, because even Cargo came out of the cage and said, what was he doing? Why wasn't he watching? But it's like a choreographed dance during batting practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 steps here, 1 there, and everybody's got a job.
And part of the job of the guy throwing batting practice is throw it. You want to throw 100% strikes, though pretty hard to do, but better be well above 90%. The other thing is your tempo has to be right. You can't go too quickly, because then you're not giving the coaches on the side an opportunity to hit ground balls to your infield.
Well, and you're also rushing the hitters as they're trying to take batting practice.
Right. It is one of my favorite things to do every day. It is for you as well.
I love it.
To watch BP, to watch infielders do their work. 2 balls and a strike on Carlos Santana. 2 outs, couple strikeouts for John. That's a great slider. 2-2. 7 strikeouts in the game for Gray. This probably will be the end of the line for John. We'll see. That is strike 3. he has mixed in some great innings. Unfortunately, the Phillies got to him early with a 3-run home run. 4-0 Philadelphia. Baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. EY back in the day. Celebrating Eric Young, counting down our top 25. It's Tuesday night. A little bit later on, we'll reveal who is next on our top 25 list.
I know who it is.
How's that?
I'm not going to tell you. Because somebody that's in charge of this list slipped up today.
I don't want to know.
I know,
I want to
just
learn
saying.
like everybody else.
Yeah. Well, you'll learn in the 7th inning.
All right. DJ LeMahieu here in the 6th inning will lead it off. Rockies need to get something going against Aaron Nola. He's allowed the Rockies just 2 hits. He's allowed only 6 hits. Excuse me. He's allowed 9 hits in his last 4 outings.
He had allowed only 59 hits on the year coming into tonight in 84 1/3 inning.
That's inside. 2-0 on DJ. We have a special guest in the booth. Look, James, say hello to Mom. This is James Vigil. Allison Vigil, our producer. Is Mom talking to you? You can answer.
Yeah.
Hold on, we got to give you a microphone there. Oh, hold on, I'm messing up everything. That is at the knees for a strike. 2-1. Why don't you tell Mom what you had for dinner? Because Dad's in charge right now.
I had a hot dog.
And then what?
And ice cream.
And ice cream. Yep.
How much ice cream?
Lots.
Beautiful. And you're going to Grandma's tomorrow, so you can have as much ice cream as you want for the next 2 weeks, okay? Beautiful. Where's your sisters?
They're down at the seats.
You take care of them? Got a bed. Oh, they're hanging with my friends? They're babysitting now? They're not very responsible, my friends. That could be a problem. What was that? You had a great facial reaction when I told you they're not very responsible. Do you believe me? You do believe me? You shouldn't believe me. You know that, James. Dude's how handsome is James, huh? You have a girlfriend? Sure. No? All right, I'm just asking. You know? Figure it. James, have fun at the beach. Give me a fist bump.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Anytime. Keep the microphone on, the headset. We may need your analysis coming up. Jeff gets a sore throat. Make a couple bucks on summer vacation. Did you throw anything at the Philly Fanatic? No? Did you throw anything at Spilly?
No.
Well, we encourage you to do that. 1-2 on Charlie Blackmon. Chuck, a ground ball to second, caught looking at a fastball on the inside corner. And Nola with his 8th strikeout of the ballgame.
Second one tonight on Charlie. One by a fastball, the last one on a curveball.
Nolan tonight, a ground ball to short and a fly ball to center field. One and 0. Nolan owns an 8-game hitting streak against Philadelphia. You know, the Rockies played a 4-game set in Philly last year. They won the first 3. Do you remember, Huey, the Rockies were on the cusp of sweeping the Phils, ended up losing, I think, 2-1 in extra innings.
Yeah, 12 or 13 innings.
Been solid so far against the East, 8-5. Remember, they played well in Washington earlier this year. 2-1. Nationals have come on. They lead the East now.
You know, Strasburg just went on the DL a couple days ago, but they got Adam Eaton back.
They got Adam Eaton back, and you hope it's not serious, obviously, with Strasburg. Still waiting to hear news on Shohei Ohtani. He's on the disabled list with an elbow, with a grade 2 sprain of his UCL, and there's some people who are jumping to conclusions saying it's automatic. He's going to have Tommy John.
What do we see just recent?
Nothing definitive from the Angels yet. 2-2. And a ground ball to second. Hernandez has it, and the Rockies are done in their half of the 6th. 4-0 Philadelphia.
Four to nothing. We are still celebrating Eric Young, the number 16 Rocky in the top 25 list all time. We all remember his big opening day home run. But his first major league home run came off a manager, Bud Black. We asked him if he remembered giving up the home run.
Yes. I do.
You do?
Yeah. Hit well, fastball, left field, straightaway left field. Yes, I do remember that. Yes.
We love opening up old wounds, and that home run that Eric Young hit was with the Dodgers prior to him joining the Rockies in 1993. Guys?
It's funny how players remember everything. And that was the first game that the Rockies ever played, spring training against the Giants down at High Corbett Field in Tucson. Get nostalgic when I think of High Corbett a little bit.
It was.
Go ahead.
I was just going to think, it was one of those places when you first started out, you know, when the Rockies were there, because now you have Salt River to compare it to, which isn't fair.
No.
It's not fair
There
to go
is no
back.
comparison.
But
from
I
the
do
facility
remember,
standpoint.
you know, when I went to camp with the Rockies and what it was like, because, you know, you're there, then on the backfield you had the teams. And good play by Nolan again. No, there's something about High Corbett Field in Tucson.
Tucson Electric across town. White Sox played. Arizona played for a while. One out as Kingery's retired. John Gray, as you can see, is still out there. 101 pitches. Chris Russin starting the process of getting loose. Nick Williams steps in. We were talking to Aaron Cook a couple of weeks ago. Cookie's name came up on our top 25. And one of the things that I always remember about Cookie, and this was
where he ate,
you know, he well not only ate at Daisy Mae's, and it was one of our favorite restaurants, everybody down there, but oftentimes Cookie be back there if you were ordering something to eat. Cookie would take your order.
Yeah, he was there. It was like Norm from
Right.
Cheers.
He was on the corner. That just missed. 1-2.
There, Daisy Mae's. Somebody's talked during spring training. Just drive down to Tucson to go to dinner there.
Well, remember that almost happened. That's a strikeout. 9 strikeouts now for John Gray. Real quick, when the kids were younger and we would drive down as a family to spring training, there's Daisy Mae's. The way we kind of bribed them to keep it together for that long drive was we would go straight to Daisy Mae's, not to our hotel. We wouldn't drop anything at the hotel. We would go straight to Daisy Mae's with the car loaded up, and that's what we would do.
So you bribed them.
And we bribed them. 12 hours later, we arrived. Dinner time. 2 outs. Jorge Alfaro's 0 for 2. You know, one thing you hope, and this will be it for John. And right now it's 4-0, and obviously Aaron Nola tonight. And John gave up that 3-run home run in the first, the 2 walks preceding the home run by Kingery. But you hope he's able to take away some good out of this, because he's got 9 strikeouts right now, and he's pitched much better after that first inning. A little trouble in the 3rd inning, but he worked out of it primarily.
But he's only given up 2 hits
since
the first inning.
It's only 3 hits. You kind of lose track of that, and there's another strikeout. I don't know, all of a sudden bats are flying into the audience. Okay, that young lady has it. Looked like she had it first. Let's be diplomatic. And John strikes out 10 in 6 innings, allows just 3 hits. Unfortunately, the Phillies lead it 4-0. Oh, we'll have fun with Boomer next week. I'm looking forward to that. And I recall a gem of a game he threw here in the 2007 postseason. 1 strike on Cargo, leading off in the 7th against Aaron Nola. And now 2 strikes on Cargo. So John Gray, there's a lot of good that he'll take away from this game. He tries to build the confidence back up. 10 strikeouts of the Phils. He allowed just 3 hits. He's going to lament the 2 walks that preceded that Kingery home run in the first. I guarantee that's going to be one of the first things he says post-game.
Yeah, but that's the 11th time in his career that he struck out 10 or more. 3rd time this year he's done it. And I think what we saw even the last 3 innings especially, is a little bit of the old John Gray, where it's okay, I'm not going to worry about mechanics, and I'm going to go out and compete against you.
Yeah, be a little bit of a gunslinger.
Yes.
Strikes on Cargo. Outside 1 and 2.
That's where on the Subaru strike zone where Nola's been all night. Just down. He'll go in. He'll go out.
He does not miss
nothing
location
in that
much.
middle quadrant of the Subaru strike zone. Maybe once or twice.
Cargo's got nothing to show for it, but he's actually battled pretty well against Nola. Talking about a guy who's allowed only 2 hits, and one of the hits didn't leave the infield. That was DJ leading off the game, and that one could have been called straight E5 on JP Crawford. Glad DJ got the hit out of it. Crawford threw it away. The only clean hit was the double by Murphy. The Phillies have struck out 10 times or more in a game now, 34 times this year. The only team in baseball who has struck out 10 times or more in a game, the Rangers, who the Rockies will see later this week, 36 times.
Good job. Might have caught a minor break there on the Subaru strike zone. Looked like he got the top portion of the zone.
Next pitch, number 100. The Rockies can run Nola off here in the 7th, get after that bullpen. Cargo trying to do it single-handedly.
That's okay.
Yeah, he's had a couple of lengthy at-bats against Nola. This is Udebray Ramos.
It's not fair when you do all that and then throw an 84-mile-an-hour changeup.
He commands everything, as we've been saying.
Well, just the action, the same arm action, but then the action of the baseball.
Trevor Story, a strikeout swinging and a strikeout looking tonight. And that's pulled down the line. That'll be the Rockies' 3rd hit. Now Parra coming up.
There's a couple strikeouts for Trevor prior to that hit. He's going to wait around. He fires at the first one. First pitch he sees from Nola. Right down the line. I think it saved a double. Just even getting a partial glove on it from Crawford.
Rockies 21-14 out on the road. They're going to come back here in the latter 3 innings against Philadelphia. And this will be a base hit. Trevor is going to go first to third. And now the Rockies a little something cooking. For the first time tonight, they have 2 runners aboard. With Ian Desmond coming up.
When you've seen it from Trevor, you saw it from Gerardo. Not messing around. First fastball they see, I'm going to go ahead and take a pass at it. Because I don't want to get to the slider. I don't want to get to the changeup.
I'm wondering if Rick Kranitz is going to come out to slow the game down for their pen and allow Ramos to fire a few more bullets. He was on the top step a moment ago, but guess not.
No.
Desmond a strikeout and a line out to second. Got to cash in here. Something.
Yeah, you do. And I think it's got to be more than 1. You got to find a way to get 2. Tonight the Rockies are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. You know, they've had it a couple times early on. You had DJ at third with only 1 out, didn't get him in. Murph with the leadoff double, didn't get him in.
One-0 to Desmond. Inside 2-0. Desi's had the penchant for the big hit so far in 2018. That's why he's driven in 35 despite the 195 batting average. He's hit 11 home runs. Story at third. Parra at first, 1 out. Pitch number 106. Good swing.
Ooh, really good swing.
Desmond's due against Nola. He's 0 for 7 against him. Five career home runs here at the bank for Ian. Used to play here quite a bit when he was in the NL East with Washington.
A lot of room for Desi to the right side with the second baseman. Hernandez shaded up the middle.
He goes in that direction quite a bit.
Did the other day at home. Got a couple RBIs with that base hit to right field.
That was big at the time because it was the same deal as it is right now. It's 4-0 Arizona. He gets the hit 4-2, and you really felt like momentum was swinging. Unfortunately, Arizona got 3 in the top half of the next frame. Kind of put it out of reach. Busted him in there. 2-2. Gabe Kapler, a different mindset now with Aaron Nola than what he had earlier in the year when he went and got him first bit of trouble. Now he's said, big boy, I know you're our horse. Two-two. Strike 3. Desmond thought it was low. That's the 10th strikeout for Nola.
It's 5 career double-digit strikeouts for Nola. It'll be a double switch.
Tom Murphy coming up. Gabe Kapler will make the move here after 108 pitches from Nola. Runners at first and third when we return.
through the 21st at Rockies.com. Adebry Ramos, a new pitcher for the Phillies.
And a base hit for Murphy. And the Rockies are on the board. Second hit for Tom Murphy, who just came back to the big leagues this afternoon. On the first pitch from Adebry Ramos, 4-1.
2 for 3 for Murph, broken bat. Base hit, snaps a offer with runners in scoring position for the Rockies. Another 1 for 10. Curveball. Tom strong enough to take it out to center field.
And now Ryan McMahon will hit for Gray. Parr at second, Murphy at first. Most of the arms in every pen, but Philadelphia's in particular, they got guys that can bring it.
Well, Ramos 94 on average with his fastball, 89 changeup, 84 on his slider. Against lefties, he likes to throw the fastball slider combination most.
Beat him with that fastball. It's 1-1. Their pen has been very solid this year. They don't have a designated closer per se.
0.76 is second in the National League for the ERA, at third in all of baseball.
One and two. One, two. And a slider down and in, same spot, strikes out McMahon. Rockies do get a run on 3 base hits. It's 4-1 as we stretch here in Philadelphia. Pitching performance. John Gray, Aaron Nola. John, settled in. He did give up 3 in the first and a run in the third, but he strikes out 10. He allowed just 3 hits. Aaron Nola, 6 2/3 of just great baseball. Another way to describe it. He gives up a run on 4 hits, struck out 10, did not come close to walking anybody. Both pitchers threw 108 darts. So we go to the bottom of the 7th. It's 4-1, and the Rockies will turn to Chris Russin to try to keep the Phillies at bay, give the Rockies a chance against that Phillies bullpen. J.P. Crawford will lead things off.
Well, Chris still trying to find his way this year. Just hasn't had the control that we saw all of last year. You know, too many walks for Chris. 14 and 27 2/3. But no time like the present to right the ship. Each opportunity to go out there, you have that chance.
Fouled it off his foot, 1-2. Murphy sets up away, and he went. Good start for Chris Russin. And that'll bring up Aaron Altair, who came in at the double switch.
Altair hitting 189 this year. He's got 6 home runs and 29 RBIs. But
good portion of last year, he was batting 3rd for the Phillies. And he bounces this one to 3rd. Retreating is Nolan, and he throws out Altair.
Pretty slick play from Nolan. I was just watching that ball in the topspin. It had your natural reaction as a third baseman is come get it. I don't want to. I want to try to get that hop, but he realized I can't do that. If I do, I'm going to play myself into an in-between hop. So he retreats. He goes back 2 steps and catches the ball and makes the spin.
He can do it all.
Yes, he can.
Cesar Hernandez 1 for 3. And he's going to test Nolan. Not a good idea. Not a bad inning for Chris Russin. Not a bad inning for that Gold Glove third baseman. We'll go to the 8th inning. The Rockies will have the top of the order, down by 3.
Inning, we've been updating the All-Star balloting, and Nolan still ranks as one of the top in all of baseball with votes. 527,000 votes. We asked him, what does that mean to you being one of the top vote getters in the National League?
Gives me an incentive to continue to work hard, continue to get better. It means a lot. You know, I feel like sometimes Rocky players, it seems like at times get kind of left out, I guess, in a way, because we don't get, you know, our game's not on TV, we're not on the East Coast, we're not on the West Coast, we're kind of just in our own time zone, you know, so maybe not showing out, but I think they appreciate, you know, the fact that I've been able to do things on both sides of the ball, and, you know, I don't know what to say. It feels good to know that they support me and like the way I play.
Still plenty of time to vote for Nolan Arenado. You can go to MLB.com and find a ballot online. You can vote up to 35 times. I love that he says it's an incentive to continue to be better and work hard every single day. Guys?
I think every great player, Spiller, you know this, and Huey knows this, you have fuel. And there are many things that fuel guys like DJ LeMahieu and Nolan Arenado and Charlie Blackmon. And he's the best of the best.
Well, we saw it just in the field in that last half inning. He averages 2.42 assists per 9 in his career. That's best all time among third basemen.
Slowly hit to short. DJ galloping toward first, but he'll be out by a couple of steps on a good play by Scott Kingery. So Tommy Hunter gets DJ one out, and that'll bring up Blackmon. Charlie's looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 3.
Tommy Hunter, some people remember him with his time in Atlanta, where he was split between the starting rotation and the bullpen. But here in Philly, a lot of times just one inning, if not less than that, a third of an inning. He throws his fastball hard at 95, will cut it, and also a curveball.
Strike one on Charlie on the outside corner. But you see the league's hitting 282 against him. So Tommy's giving up some knocks. Rocky's trying to rally. 5 outs to work with, down by 3. And anything's better than facing Aaron Nola.
Yes. Well, that's the good thing. They're able to get him out of there. They also, with Murph driving in the run, tacked on an earned run, just gave up the 1 earned run.
Two strikes on Charlie. I think there's sometimes, it's rare, Huey, you go to the plate and you go, after a day, I didn't get one good pitch to hit. And I'm trying to think back in my head with Charlie's at bats. Nola was really good with virtually everybody. I don't know how many pitches Charlie would say, boy, that was a really good one to hit. I don't know if he's gotten any tonight.
And maybe not, because the old saying is you're going to get at least one
per at bat.
I mean, that's what people say, and you better not miss it. And then some nights you get 2 or 3.
Those hopefully are good nights where you go 3 for 4, right?
Nights. Yeah. But then there's some nights you just don't get a pitch and you just got to battle.
And that is a pitch he can handle into the right field corner. Charlie racing towards second base. It's a 1-out double. You cannot keep a good man down long.
Good for Charlie. And even that wasn't a.
No, that doesn't fall into the category of, oh, that's a real good pitch to hit.
Yeah, the pitcher, missed his spot. No, Charlie had to work for that one.
And that is his 950th career hit.
His 8th double this year.
7th on the all-time Rockies list in number of hits. Here's Nolan looking for a pitch to hit. 0 for 3. Ground out to short. Fly ball to center and a ground ball to second tonight for Arenado. Takes ball 1. I will say this. Roberto Ortiz has not had a big zone, but he's had a consistent zone. There have been some pitches sometimes that show up on the edge of the Subaru strike zone, not called a strike, but it's been that way both ways. 2-0.
And you're right, it hasn't been one location either. So sometimes it's like, well, he's not calling anything down or he's not calling anything up.
Nolan was in swing mode. It's 2-1.
Sometimes in swing mode, your swing gets too big.
Sometimes it gets slow too, right? It gets a little muscle back.
Yes.
You get a little long with it. Get out away
Well,
from
that's
your
what
body.
happens when it's too big. It slows down.
Same
it
thing.
looks good.
2-2. That had a cut on it. Off the plate, 3-2. Cargo on deck.
And there's not a left-hander warming up for Philadelphia.
This is in the air to left. Hoskins makes the catch, 2 outs. Cargo coming up. Who wants tacos? Fans, follow us at AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 runs in a game or more.
Well, I mentioned no left-hander warming up for Philadelphia, so they got the right-hander Tommy Hunter. Cargo is .333 with runners in scoring position, but 9 for his last 18.
Their only lefty's Adam Morgan, and Adam Morgan has been up and down this year.
Yeah.
Cargo's 0 for 3, but he has seen a lot of pitches tonight. Last at bat went as a strikeout, but it was a pretty good battle with Aaron Nola. The same thing with his previous at bat. I'm sure, Huey, there were times you went back and you said, you know what, I'm 0 for 3 or 0 for 4, but I felt like I had pretty good at bats.
Yeah.
Just nothing to show for it.
I think that's what Cargo is saying.
1-1. They had chased a little bit in there. Rockies down 4-1 in the 8th. They've out-hit Philadelphia 6-3. Strange line tonight for John Gray. 6 innings, allows 4 runs, all earned. He walked 4. Just 3 hits allowed, and he struck out 10. One and 2.
Yeah, 5 ground ball outs too for John. The 4 walks is a season high.
Quickly, one more point on what we're discussing with Cargo. His first 3 at bats, he saw 20 pitches. Now down 1 and 2. Tommy Hunter with Texas, Baltimore, the Cubs, Cleveland, Baltimore 2nd time, Tampa last year. Former starting pitcher.
Good take on the curveball.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And Hunter at 98 strikes out Cargo. Blackman left at 2nd. It remains 4-1 Philadelphia. a home run to Kingery. And that made it 3-0. And then Kingery with a sac fly as a nice diving catch or sliding catch by Charlie Blackmon. The Rockies got their lone run, a base hit from Tommy Murphy, who's making his major league debut in 2018. Haven't seen Tommy since last year. And he's throwing out a couple of hits tonight, 2 of the Rockies' 6 hits. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 in the Philadelphia lineup. And Brian Shaw is on for the Rockies. Chris Russin worked the 7th inning. Hoskins 0 for 1, 2 walks. And the slider's fouled off.
Brian trying to put away the memory of what happened on Sunday. 336 batting average against on the season, but the last 10 games for Brian, opponents hitting 460.
Well, the velocity has been outstanding, and you know, there's still plenty of cut on his fastball. So that's the first thing you look at when somebody struggles.
Yes.
From a pitching coach standpoint, from a managerial standpoint, who was a pitching coach and a great pitcher in Buddy Black. The stuff is still good. What has not been good is, for some reason, the location consistently has been in the middle part of the hitting zone and in the happy part of the hitting zone, kind of up, belt high in that range. And so then you go about looking at the mechanics as to why it keeps showing up there. And for Brian, he's admitted, you know, he's struggled before. All pitchers do, especially guys that have a long and, in his case, distinguished track record. You try to figure out as to why, but he said this has been the worst period he's gone through.
Well, and it's like that reoccurring nightmare that you can't wake up from. You know, and Steve Foster, Bud Black, they're looking at it, they're digesting video, trying to figure out, is a step towards home the same? Is he going across his body too much?
That's a good pitch. That's weak contact on the ground and easy play. Hoskins retired.
Well, he just needs some good fortune too. He needs one of those quick innings and something to kind of build some momentum off of. I think that's been the problem with this bullpen as a whole, is you haven't had, you know, this guy do it and then the other guy do it and say, I want to be that guy. And so that it kind of feeds off each other, like hitting.
Yeah,
you say hitting's contagious. Well, pitching's contagious too.
Buddy was saying exactly that earlier today, that I think is, he was saying, as individuals start to, you know, end their personal slump, collectively the bullpen will get back to the place you expect them to be. The only way, we always say this for a hitter who's, you know, 0 for 15, how do you get out of a slump? The only way you ultimately get out of a slump is you have to keep getting yourself back in that batter's box. And for Brian Shaw, you have to get back on the mound.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else you can do.
That's why it takes such great mental toughness, perseverance. Brian working ahead of Herrera, 0-2. Settle on a slider. And he got him, though this pitch goes all the way to the backstop, and Murphy's throw to first not going to be in time. So a strikeout and a reach for Herrera.
Yeah, even that right there. You get the strikeout, everything's good, but then it's a wild pitch allowing that guy to get to first base. This wasn't even close from Herrera. But then it gets away from Murph, and then instead of kissing hard off that wall, it just kind of goes right to the base of it. And 7 wild pitches on the year for Brian.
Carlos Santana with 1 out. 2 walks and a strikeout for Santana. And that cutter, that looked pretty darn good. 1-0.
And the Flatiron Crossing Rockies dugout store has moved to a new space in the village. So stop by for the MVP treatment today. Call 303-439-8326 for more information.
And that's in there for a strike. Former teammates competing against each other. Brian Shaw and Carlos Santana together for many years in Cleveland. And this is a flare to short, or actually to the shortstop position, manned by 28, Nolan Arenado, 2 outs. Scott Kingery will come up.
Hitting star for tonight for the Phillies.
Came in with 16 RBIs. He's got 20 now. Good spot, just a little bit low. Ball 1. That's a strike. That's a slider. 2-1. This game somewhat mirroring the Sunday game for Philadelphia in that they won 4-3 against Milwaukee to avoid a sweep here by the Brewers. And yet they had only 4 hits in that 4-3 victory. Well, they're up 4-1 right now in the Rockies. In the 8th, they have only 3 hits.
But it was that one hit with the 2 men on that reached via the walk. It started for Kingery.
Runner going, and Murphy's throw. Can't get him, so a stolen base for Herrera.
3rd stolen base on the year for Herrera. Quick glance over his left shoulder. Good throw from Tom. It was just a good jump by Herrera off of Brian.
And that's a walk to Kingery. 3rd time he's walked tonight. Let me correct that. I'm looking at Santana. 1st time Kingery's walked.
The 5th walk by the Phillies tonight.
This is Yasmuel Valentin pinch hitting.
Number 182 hitting left-handed. 188. 3 for 16 hitting left-handed.
One and 0. Rockies have had more opportunities with runners in scoring position tonight than Philadelphia. And that is a base hit for Valentine. And here comes Herrera. Here comes the throw home, cut off. And now Desmond has Kingery hung up. He does a good job, but the run scores. And it's 5-1 Philadelphia. We'll go to the ninth. Story will lead it off for the Rockies. TNT Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. From Philadelphia, we go back to the Rocky Mountains. In our Denver studios, here is Jenny and Corey. All right, Jenny, thanks much. You know, here's an interesting note on John Gray as we look at Luis Garcia. Only twice has a Rockies pitcher given up 3 or fewer hits, had 10 or more Ks, and lost. John Gray, actually in 2016. Tyler Anderson in 2016. Tyler will be the starter tomorrow. Breaking ball for a strike from Garcia to Story. Story has one of the Rockies' 6 hits. He has scored the only run.
Well, for Garcia's fastball averages 97 miles an hour.
And he's not even the hardest thrower in that bullpen. There's another base hit for Trevor. Hardest thrower in their bullpen is Sir Anthony Dominguez. His fastball averages 98.
For Garcia's fastball slider to the righties, fastball split to the left-handers.
Here comes a left-hander in Parra. Parra's been on twice. Hit by a pitch in the 5th, stole a base, was stranded ultimately at 3rd. He also had a base hit in the 7th. One strike on Parra. And that's a called strike at 99.
and with a not very high leg kick. Some guys have to really bring their leg up and generate a lot of power to hit 99. She really doesn't do that.
He just has a huge arm. This ball tailing away from Hoskins, and he's got to bail out.
Garcia just kind of falls into that delivery. So he'll set up and then just start leaning and falling towards home plate. But as you mentioned, Drew, it's the arm.
That's a big arm. So if the Rockies can get some traffic and provide a scare here in the top of the ninth, down by 4 runs. We hit triple digits in the baseball in our Subaru strike zone.
Changes a different color.
Changes to red. Been a couple of those. And a base hit to right. Story had to see that pass to second baseman Hernandez. And the first 2 men have reached against Garcia, with Ian Desmond coming up.
That, folks, is not easy to do, what Gerardo just did, because he hit 99 on a couple pitches. So you have to, in the box, think, well, I'm going to get a fastball at 99. As Dominguez gets up and gets tossing it out of the bullpen. So you start to commit to a swing earlier, or to the baseball. And then to stay back on an off-speed pitch on the splitter and still hit it far enough to right field.
Desmond 2 strikeouts and a line out.
Desi 4 for 9 in his career against Garcia.
Here's the 0-1. And that is a base hit. Story will stop at third, and now the Rockies are going to get the tying run to the plate in Tom Murphy. And this crowd at just under 20,000 showing their Philadelphia pride.
It started out with Trevor going the other way, Gerardo pulling one, Desi pulling one. And when Tom Murphy tonight, first game back, his first at bat, doubles to right center field in the third, and then in the seventh takes a broken bat single up the middle to score Trevor.
Rick Kranitz, he's done with his conversation. A couple of attaboys, and here's the matchup. Tom Murphy. Double fly out RBI single tonight for Murphy in his return to the big leagues. The media that gathered in front of his locker this afternoon. He focused on having more fun during his stint in Albuquerque. He was having fun tonight to make it an even more pleasurable night. And he will. Base hit the other way. Here comes Story. Parra to third. And it is 5-2. A 3-hit return to the big leagues for Tom Murphy.
And a 2 RBI night. But right now, the Rockies are doing the right thing. They're being challenged with a lot of first pitch fastballs, so they're attacking that, but they're also playing station to station. You know, down 5-1 as you come into this inning. The last thing you want to do is get doubled up. So they're just going station to station, 90 feet. Also forcing the manager, Gabe Kapler, to take Garcia out.
Four straight singles, and the Rockies are alive in the ninth, down by 3. Tonight at the bank, 4 straight singles against Luis Garcia. This is Ibarra, Desmond, Murphy, the most recent one. Story began the inning with a sharp single to right. So now nobody out. The go-ahead run at the plate in Chris Iannetta. He'll pinch hit. This is something Buddy was talking about earlier, having a veteran guy to come off the bench. So many benches throughout the sport now are young guys. And here is Dominguez, Sir Anthony Dominguez, who has a big arm. That's a slider at 90. His fastball will hit triple digits. And he just came to the big leagues for the first time about a month ago. And so far, he's been unhittable.
Well, and he started the year in Double-A, and then went to Lehigh Valley, their Triple-A, and then made his MLB debut against Giants.
Here's something else that this little rally by the Rockies will ensure. DJ LeMahieu definitely will hit. If Iannetta not hit into a double play here, Charlie Blackmon a chance to hit also. 2-1. And this is a great spot for Chris for a couple of reasons. One, if he runs into one, you know he's got top shelf power. The other thing is Chris walks a lot.
That's right. And you've got, even though the numbers say a lot for Dominguez, he hasn't been up very long. This is a different situation.
This ball ripped to center field, base hit. Desmond around third, and Stu Cole will put the stop sign on there. Rockies going station to station. 5 straight line drive singles, and the Rockies are very much alive.
With nobody out. Don't forget that. Now you get a pinch runner too for Chris as he takes that ball right up the middle.
This is interesting. Desmond stopped. He could have scored on this. Stu making sure to be conservative because the most important run obviously is the tying run. The next most important, the one after that. So here's DJ, 1 for 4. Cuevas into pinch run, and he is the go-ahead run. Ball 1. Oh, they said he went.
They checked. Yeah, Jeff Kellogg said he went.
Story began the rally with a single.
Boy, that's borderline at best. DJ wasn't happy with it.
1-1. Nobody out. 5 straight singles in the 9th inning with the Rockies trailing 5-1. They now have 11 hits to the Phillies 4. Good swing there on a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. DJ lifts his ball to deep left field, way back. It'll stay in the ballpark. It'll get a run home. Hoskins makes the catch. Desmond comes down. 5-4 with 1 out. He did not miss that by much.
By a grain, maybe. He gets a sac fly, brings the Rockies back to within 1. Well, a slider. DJ's watching, looking. Did he get enough? Well, he took Hoskins all the way to the warning track.
And now Charlie Blackmon, who's been a Philadelphia Phillies killer over the years. He hit 3 jacks in this ballpark in a game 2 years ago. He had a double his last time up. And this ball ripped to deep right. And it is caught out there by Altair. Man, off the bat, I thought it was over his head.
I did too, because he hit that right on the sweet spot. And good job by Tom Murphy at second base not to run and think that was just going over his head, because he got about 3/4 of the way down to third base and then had to backtrack. Now it's 2 outs and up to Nolan. They kind of look back to that last half inning where he gave up that extra run.
So here we go. 2 outs, 2 on. Rockies down a run. Nolan takes a strike.
Well, if you're Cuevas too at first base with the 2 outs, you get far off of first, and then that ball goes in the gap. You're running hard.
Two strikes on Arenado. Murphy at second, Cuevas at first. One and two.
That's a good block by Alfaro.
A real big block.
Well, it's huge. If it scoots by, you got second and third.
Rockies fans, plenty of them in the house tonight. One, two. Arenado says he went.
So that's for some help.
Arenado, according to Roberto Ortiz, went. And what Nolan was saying is ask for help.
Exactly.
The Rockies rally will fall a run short. That angle's always tough to tell. This one will be a little more revealing. And you know what? He was right on that borderline. He may have gone. So the Rockies fall 5-4, their 5th consecutive loss. That rally in the 9th falls short. As the Rockies come up with 3, they needed 4. We go to Jenny and Corey in our Denver studios. Jenny, all yours.